You have to know how to use your time in the most judicious manner possible. Ladies and gentlemen, gents, gals, guys, all members of the audience, welcome back on in to the Blue Collar Psychiatrist. Today, we're going to be talking about the two linchpins of life, the two cornerstones of life in terms of the quality of your life. Now, many people have asked me over the years if I could distill all of the material in these videos to a much more concise package, which is easily understood. I'm going to attempt to do that today in this video. In my opinion, the quality of your life, of my life, of all people's lives is heavily weighted in the direction of the quality of your relationships with other people and the quality of your use of time or misuse of time. If you can get these two things in order, you will be far, far ahead of the game of life. And we all want the same thing. We all want to live a productive, happy life. But the road to get there can often be riddled with detours and bumpiness and all sorts of problems that happen. And again, we're going to tackle what we can do in terms of trying to do the best that we can and simplifying life and its quality. As I said, the issues are your relationships with other people and how you use or misuse your time. Let's talk about your relationships with other people. Now, here again, it's hard to simplify this because for the first 18 years of life, you don't have control. You have no control over your genetics, and you have no control over the quality of the parenting that you experienced. This may be a topic for another video, but I would say in simplicity, if you're having problems as a result of poor parenting or genetic issues that were passed on to you, then you probably are going to have to get some kind of psychotherapy. Now, in terms of major mental disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and severe personality disorders, you are going to have to seek medical advice within the field of psychiatry. I mean, doctors who can prescribe medication. I'm not a big medication guy, but I will say this: if you have inherited schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or any of the other severe major mental disorders, you're going to need medication more likely than not. Now, I don't know who you are out there, but I'm saying if you have a severe major mental disorder, more likely than not, you're going to probably have to be evaluated for medication. And hopefully that will help greatly. But let's take a situation, or most of the situations in life, that don't involve severe problems in nature or nurture, which is what we just talked about. If you have the insight, when you are growing up, or after you leave home, and you realize that you have a bad problem with introversion and shyness, then you have to address that right away. As I've said before, you have to understand that the quality of your life is in part related to how you relate to other people. And if you can't introduce yourself, and if you can't talk to other people, and if you can't behave in a socially appropriate manner in terms of talking to other people, you're going to have a tough time. And that's when I, again, return to my favorite type of therapy, especially for shyness and introversion, which would be behavioral therapy. They will not label you in terms of depression or anxiety necessarily, but they will say, okay, you have an issue with interpersonal relations. And they will take you gradually up the ladder to give you more and more difficult situations to deal with and to see how you handle these situations. So it's gradual desensitization really is what it is, which is a type of behavioral therapy. And this will, over a period of time, and really not a period of years, but will help you greatly in being able to relate to others. As I said, if you cannot relate to other people, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. You're going to have problems. You're not going to have a happy life, because being able to relate to other people is one of the, if not the most important thing that you have under your control. And you have to know the skills, and if you don't have them, you have to get them. And the only way that I know how to get them is through behavioral psychotherapy. This is very, very important that it be addressed, and it has to be addressed as soon as it becomes obvious. My friend who worked in his father's pawn shop was lucky in the sense that he got behavioral therapy, but it wasn't from a therapist, it was from his father. My friend was very shy. He was afraid to wait on the customers that came in. His father saw what was happening, and he said, now listen, you wait on this next customer. I'll be here to help you out. But you're going to approach the customer, and you're going to ask him what he wants or what she wants, and then if you have problems, then I'll step in and help you. But you have to learn this. And he kept on hammering away. And it was day after day after day until finally he broke out of it. He was able to easily walk up to a customer and introduce himself and find out what the customer wanted, and was able to get what the customer was asking for, and could have good interpersonal relationships with the customer, which is very important, because many times you're selling yourself as much as you're selling your product. And gradually he was able to do it and became basically, as I knew him, an extrovert. So that's very, very important to attack this shyness or introversion. The other issues in terms of other people, in relating to other people, is who will you befriend? Now you have to be able to be very careful in terms of knowing other people. Watch for certain signs of issues or problems, if they're difficult to get along with, if they're argumentative, if they're just simply impossible to deal with. You don't want to deal with these kind of people. You cannot befriend these kind of people, or else you're going to be sucked into their vortex of negativity. You don't want that. You've got to watch out for certain things. You don't want a negative person. You don't want somebody who's going to be argumentative. You don't want somebody who's violent. You don't want someone who's a substance abuser. These and other issues are things you have to watch out for, because you don't want to bring into your life negativity. We don't want that. You have to be careful as to who you allow into your life. But if you're able to talk to people and have at least a modicum of judgment as to what type of person you're dealing with, then hopefully you will be able to select people who will add to your life rather than subtract from it. I think that's something that we all want in terms of a friendship. And that we also, in this situation, I also say to you this: it is important to have friends in life. Family cannot always be counted on. Families can be toxic, but they're there. They're our family. They're our blood. We have no control over that. But what we do have control over are these friends that we allow into our lives. So you have to be very, very, very careful about who you're going to allow into your life. And some of this, after a while, becomes second nature. You're getting to see that this person, hey, this person could be a good friend as time goes on, or wait a minute, I see too many red flags, that's it, I can't deal with this type of person. So, but this is a very short synopsis of the importance of relationships with other people. No man is an island unto himself. You have to have friends in this world. You have to. unless you are severely, severely introverted and can't even make a move toward anybody else. Because if you want a happy life, if you want to date, if you want to get married, if you want to have relationships with other people who can add to your life, you cannot be an introvert. You have to at least have some degree of ability to approach and converse with and talk to other people to find out information, number one, to see whether these might be a good friend. Now, the other issue I mentioned is your use or misuse of time. As I've mentioned before many times, time is the most precious commodity that we have, and yet we waste it. And yet we allow other people, and here's the crossover between the people you allow in your life and time, because if you select the wrong person, they're going to end up wasting your time. They'll be happy to do it, but you cannot allow that. That's one of the things you have to watch out for. You don't want to bring somebody into your life who's going to waste your time, who has no particular ambition to do anything, who is lazy. You don't want that. And so what we have to be very, very careful of is not only who we select in terms of time usage, but also in terms of the quality of our lives. How can this person add to my life is a question that you should always be asking yourself. Now, of course, you have to add to their lives too, because it's a two-way street. So it's not just you, it's you. They're looking hopefully for the same type of thing, that they want someone who can add to their lives. But you have to be able to see what you're dealing with. You got to get a feel for it. And that question should always be uppermost in your mind. How can this person add to the quality of my life? You're not going to be able to find the answer to this right away. It may take a period of time, months or maybe even longer, before you get the real person. Sometimes people are good at concealing who they really are, but then you have to continue to find out. And believe me, with time you will find out, but you have to be alert to any issues of concern. And I've already mentioned some of these. So this is an issue of a two-pronged approach of how to make your life a better one by distilling as best as I can some of the information in the other videos that I have done, hopefully that have benefited you. But it's these two issues. It is the relationships you have with other people and how you use or misuse your time. Now, you can also misuse your own time. You don't need somebody to help you. There are people who don't know how to deal with their own time. They waste time. They procrastinate. They don't know where they want to go in life. Totally waste time. Again, devastating. Absolutely devastating to not know where you're going. So you see how these two blend together. You've got to pick the right people with whom to associate, number one. And number two, you have to know how to use your time in the most judicious manner possible. You have to know where you're going in life, and you have to go after it. Because otherwise you're just stuck in a rut somewhere, and this is not going to bode well for you in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I remind you, drink! And drink abundantly from the fountain of life. See you next time. Oh, wait. I advise you to look at two videos that I have done. One is called The Time of Your Life, and the other is called We Are Not the Same. Look those over. You'll see how they will dovetail with the information that we've talked about today. See you next time!